Just before the Me Too movement swept the nation, I was standing in the back of a comedy club with my friend Nick Kroll, and we were watching our friend Natasha Leggero do stand-up. And just to prove I'm not being name-droppy, my friend Bonnie T. Parsley was also there, who you've definitely not heard of because she's not famous. She's a dentist, a shitty one. Don't go to her. I mean, she's addicted to cocaine. Plus, I made her up, so... Anyway, so Natasha was on stage, and she asked the women in the audience to raise their hand if an uninvited stranger had ever jerked off at them. And every woman in the room, including me, raised their hand. It didn't surprise me at all, but Nick was stunned. He could not believe this was something we had all experienced. And it was Nick's reaction, that earnest shock, and so many men's reaction when Me Too took hold, that made me realize that the reason men were stunned to learn about the female experience was because they've never needed to know the female experience. Women know everything about being male because we've always had to see the world through a male lens in order to survive, to get jobs, to succeed, to exist. And it was that realization that brought me to this. As a white person, I have only had to see the world through the lens of the white experience. People of color, in addition to their own perspective, have had to see the world through the lens of white people their whole lives in order to survive, to get jobs, to succeed, to exist. I've never had to see the world through the black experience, though as a liberal, I was sure that I had. There was an episode of my old show, the Sarah Silverman program, that... Oh, my God. Thank you for looking at the applause sign. Anyway, I had a moment on my old show where I could not see past the scope of my liberal white lens. And look, comedy isn't evergreen. It gets old or trite or irrelevant as fast as the changing times. Obviously, except for Garfield. I mean, come on. The way that cat at once loves lasagna and hates Mondays. It's genius. It's timeless. And look, there's stuff I did on the Sarah Silverman program that I love. I loved playing this arrogant, ignorant asshole. But then there's stuff that I did on there that, you know, I cringe at. And one thing in particular is, to call it problematic would be too kind. Okay, I'll just rip the Band-Aid off right now and say it. I did an episode where I wore blackface. The context was, well, irrelevant because it's not okay to do blackface, ever. But/and, there is irony, because in this episode, I played an ignorant woman in a liberal bubble who thought she was illuminating racism by wearing blackface. What I didn't realize then is that in reality, I was an ignorant woman in a liberal bubble who thought I was illuminating racism by wearing blackface. I mean, good grief. That is some real liberal bubble shit. We know it's wrong, so we can do it. I've been disgusted by it for a long time now, and I am so sorry to anyone who saw it and was cut by it. I feel immense remorse, and this is not some disingenuous bullshit. This is not damage control. I was not caught. I mean, this was on television. It had to go through many filters, which in itself is proof that, you know, we need to diversify our filters. And that's not to say that people of color should be in positions of power just to correct white people's worst instincts, you know? I mean, it has to be my job to realize when I've contributed to a history of the degradation of an entire race of people. Am I the right person for that job? I don't know. I mean, I did list it under other skills on my resume. I am sorry that I did this. I hate that I did it. I fucking wish more than anything that I could delete it out of existence, but I can't. I can only be changed by it and then make it right the best I can in any way that I can forever, for the rest of my life, going forward. And with that in mind, to help me break down why blackface is super shitty and never okay, here is my friend Don Cheadle. Oh, Don.
Okay, blackface originated in 19th century minstrel... Oh, man, you know what? This is it. You're doing it. You're doing exactly what you said not to do.
What?
You're asking a black person to explain to white people why blackface is bad. I mean, just, like, fucking Google it, okay? Read one fucking think piece or something, Sarah. I mean, it's not my job to educate ignorant white people. It's my job to be the best actor in America and quite possibly the world.
I loved you in Miles Ahead. And of course, you're right. I fucked up. God. You know what? And I have a fix, and you're gonna love this, actually. Ladies and gentlemen, here to explain the historical context of blackface is a very white person, Jack McBrayer.
Blackface originated in 19th century minstrel shows, creating a belittling and demeaning caricature of black people.
Whoa, stop.
Thank you so much. That did not feel right at all. My tummy is all knotted up like a ball of rubber bands.
So you got a less talented white person recast him as me?
Well, we do different things.
Fuck! You're right, Don. Jesus, twat, bitch, fuck.
Okay, no. Relax, okay? Maybe we just make a commitment to do better.
Yes. Okay, we'll just make a commitment to do better. Right, in general, let's all just...
Yeah.
All right, I have to throw to... You want to throw to commercial? You just look into the camera and read the prompter.
Oh.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
If you know anything about me, you know I'm a horny liberal Jewish woman on the hunt for some mean peen with balls in between. After the break, I go on a date with a conservative Republican, so stick around.